Hello, good morning. I hope you're all well. Good morning, good morning. So, I have successfully binge watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy over the last 4 days or so, 4 or 5 days. And there's this moment in the second one, I believe, The Two Towers. Maybe it's in the first one, I don't remember, The Fellowship of the Ring, where poor Frodo Baggins says something like, I wish this wasn't happening to me. And Gandalf comes back from the dead, or as an apparition to Frodo, and says something like, and so it is true for all who experience such times. Like, nobody wants this. And he goes on to say, and I'm paraphrasing, I think, that it's not ours to choose what happens, but it is ours to decide what we do with the times that we have. And so it points directly at that teaching that comes from Dharma and yoga and many aspects of spiritual traditions from forever, that we can't do much about what's happening. We can only do with what we respond to. We can only do anything about how we respond to what's happening. And so I choose, as often as I can remember, to be willing to be of service, to be willing to include what's here, to be willing to be of help in any way that I can. And I know one of the ways that I can do that is to offer experiences for people to engage with in these subtle realms, and also taking care of myself and not conflating genuine self-care with self-improvement. That's an ongoing phenomenon that I think is increasing in disparity in terms of what we consider self-care and what has become just sort of neurotic self-improvement. So let's touch in with what's here today. If you have any amount of wall that you could put your mat preferably parallel to, that would be ideal. Have the option to go parallel, but if you can only take your mat perpendicular to that wall, it will also probably work. We'll probably use a couple blocks and a belt and a blanket like usual. So starting with legs up the wall, please. In organizing yourself with legs up the wall so that your pelvis is heavy and the lumbar spine is not. So for some people who have tightness in their hamstrings, if those people take their sit bones all the way up to the wall, then the pelvis tends to curl up off the floor and the lumbar spine gets real heavy. So having your hips enough away from the wall that your pelvis is clearly heavier than your lumbar spine. So your legs might not be flat against the wall. And then I invite you to take your two arms out to the side, straight out from the shoulders. Hover them off the floor an inch or so. Stretch them wide like full wingspan, full reach across the room from right to left. Full spread from fingerprint to fingerprint, right to left across the front. And full spread fingernail to fingernail across the upper back. Keep suspending and reaching the arms for another full breath cycle, 1 or 2 of those. And then as you lay the arms down, try to do shoulders and then upper arm bone, then like elbow, then lower arm bone, and then wrists, hands and fingers. And then relax. So the fingertips will curl in. The arms might roll or turn or something as they settle. And envision or pretend, imagine that the feet, as they shine towards the heavens, are like receptors, little prana panels, where you can draw the prana or the chi down from the heavens through the legs and let it pool in the belly. Let the healing mojo of the space around you, the invisible realms of space and ether, pour in through the inhale, through the legs. Feel the belly swell as the breath completes. Your full lungs are fully expanded. And then continue to let the chi or the prana saturate in that low belly area even as you exhale. So while the air goes out, or carbon dioxide goes out, you keep the loving, healing vibes of space gathering in the belly. So space is stuff. It's not just empty void. There's stuff in space. It's measurable. So continue to breathe freely, drink deeply the prana, the space around, and pull it in, and continue to gather it in the belly. And we're going to add another dynamic to this. Also, forehead or third eye center facing the heavens. Can you also imagine or pretend, invite that you're pulling the heavenly chi in from there as well. So now you're inhaling through soles of feet, third eye center, and gathering that charge in the low belly. Keeping it there as you exhale. And you could even pretend that the belly is growing in size energetically. So it doesn't have to grow in size physically, because I don't know anyone who wants that. But energetically, can you feel a fullness? Invite, invoke a sense of satisfaction, a satedness in the belly. And from here, simply bend the elbows so your hands can come back and fingers can touch the side of your head. And you could touch or plug your ear holes with your thumbs. So don't do it yet. But what I'd like to do is 5 breaths of Brahmari breathing. Brahmari is the bumblebee breath. So you'll inhale through the forehead, third eye center, and the feet. Pull the energy into the belly. And plugging the ears, exhale with a humming sound. We're going to do it 5 times, and everyone's got different timing for their breath. So I'm going to do it 5 times, and then when I'm done, I'll start talking again loudly. Perhaps you'll be done. So 5 Brahmari breaths. Here we go. soles of feet together, knees out, and slide the feet down towards your hips. So Baddha Konasana on the wall, and drape the arms across your body. Pause here and let the weight of the arms and the weight of the legs settle. I just want to say a couple of things about Bhramari breathing. The sustaining of the exhale through the humming sound slows the breath down. So in theory, it's strengthening and lengthening for the deep diaphragm muscle. It's calibrating strength and control in the intercostal muscles, all the exhale muscles. And it's inviting the little breath sacs, the alveoli, to stay dilated longer, even as the exhale moves out. So there's all sorts of physiological things happening at the level of the breath and the mechanisms of the breath. And the story of yoga also says that it's a calming, cooling breath for the body. Switch the arm that's on top. Any wiggle or waggle of the pelvis or knees against or at the wall is allowed and encouraged. The weight of my legs and knees are continuing to tug on the groins pretty significantly. So if it gets to be too much for you, you could certainly bring your hands under your knees and offer a little support with the arms. Otherwise, let the legs hang. Hang and release. Another technique I like to do is to push my hands into the thigh creases, moving sit bones towards the wall a little bit. And I add a little internal rotation with my hands because it helps to lengthen the deep groin. From here, we'll take both legs up again. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh. And notice what happens to the pelvis. If both sit bones swing to the left, see if you can minimize that. And make sure that the left sit bone stays oriented to the wall. The right sit bone changes because we bent the leg and turned the leg out. So maybe at the wall, but not straight into the wall, that right sit bone. And any amount you can bend your left knee, which might not be a lot if you really keep the back of the pelvis heavy. And so the left knee is pointing in the direction of your head. Feel free any amount you can to waggle the left knee to the left, and that sweeps the right knee more to the middle. It changes what's happening, right? And then if you sweep left knee back to center and then over to the right, it swings the whole thing to the right. So any movement that you wish to bring online with that left knee swinging left and right. And as the right hip adapts and allows, much like we all have been adapting and allowing, then more is possible. More is possible. Notice when the left knee swings left, how you're organizing a little bit more like double pigeon. Or some people call it fire log, where the two shins are stacked. Continue to allow that happen. Continue to allow that to happen. So as the knee swings left knee swings left, you can let the left foot slide more down towards the floor, further bending left knee, further taking the shape down and over to the left, putting more weight and tug on the outer right hip. And what I'd like you to do is once that left leg is way over there, catch it with your hand. Don't let it go all the way to the floor, but then free your right leg, swing it up and over to the right and pull the left heel down towards the pelvis. So now it's half Baddha Konasana, half Upavista Konasana. Half wide-legged, supine, and half soles of feet together, knees wide. Supine up the wall. And then when you're ready, from here, swing right leg to vertical. Cross left ankle over right knee. Bend right knee any amount. So all those details of right sit bone still orienting clearly towards the wall, maybe into the wall if it started there. And left sit bone is maybe brushing the wall, but it's reoriented itself. It's turned a little bit because it goes with the leg. And then swing right knee to the right and right knee to the left. And right and left. As the right knee swings right, let the foot slide down. Let the right foot slide down. And that might affect how much you can swing through center into the left. So you can keep sliding that left foot sort of up and down the wall as you need. But eventually we're going to pause over here to the right and support with right hand. A little more of that right foot sliding down. So you're flirting with double pigeon to the right, towards the right, not all the way onto the floor over there. Just enough to get a little more sensation if it's appropriate in the right bum, left bum. And then from here, keep right leg where it is. Slide left leg up to vertical and then way over to the left as you invite right foot to come down towards the pelvis. So it's sort of like Janu Shirshasana legs, or a hybrid of Baddha Konasana and Upavista Konasana. Focus on full releasing of the exhale, full releasing of your limbs into gravity's embrace, full surrender to the scenario that you're in, the situation you're in, which right now hopefully is fairly pleasant, at least a manageable amount of sensation. We're going to keep the left leg over there, right? And stretch the right leg up. And use your left hand to support the left leg so it doesn't go any lower. And then scoot your head, your body, towards the left leg. Right? So left butt cheek is still towards the wall, maybe on the wall. Body is laying closer to the wall, towards the left. And then can you bring that right leg over to the left? I'm using my left hand, elbow on the floor. Left forearm is like a bracket or a brace to hold the legs up. I'm on my outer left hip, outer back, outer left hip. Both legs are together, but they're a little uneven. They're a little staggered. It's the nature of the shape. And the sensation is one of epic spreading, opening, unfolding of that right side. So a lot in the back, right side, and then the pure right side, all the way to the outer hip, outer leg. Reach the right sit bone towards the wall. So more length might be possible on the right side. And I'm actually letting my legs settle down a little bit. So ideally, the
request for some sort of transformation by this shape is all about the place where your back ribs meet the lumbar and where the lumbar meets the back of the pelvis. Probably a lot of tug, perhaps in the deep back muscles, side back muscles, lower side back muscles. I'm going to say there's nothing haphazard about the way things unfold. There's a logic, even if our human minds can't see it or don't agree with it being logical. And I'm going to say similarly, the micro version of the universe, our little individual bodies, there's nothing haphazard. So I don't subscribe to the haphazard practice. I intend to connect very clearly and consciously and intentionally with all that's unfolding, even if I don't understand it or certainly can't control it. But I can be in intimate, loving, compassionate relationship with it. So let's switch this up. So if you take the right leg up to vertical, start to squiggle the torso back to neutral, and then bring left leg up with you. So you're back to where you started. Perpendicular to the wall, legs up the wall. Let the right leg go out to the right. Catch it with your right hand, and then scooch the torso. Head, ribs, waist to the right. Outer right butt cheek is towards the wall or touching the wall. Right elbow is right up against the wall, maybe, you're that close. And then slide the left leg over. So you're almost laying sideways against the wall, but the legs are up there. So it ends up being, for those of you who've got some chops and you know the practice and the poses, it's sort of like a supine version of Parivrtta Paschimottanasana, a revolved, seated forward bend. There's a slightly different dynamic because of the wall. I learned this one from one of my main teachers many years ago. T.S. Little used to teach this. And admittedly, every time I teach it, there's some mayhem in the room. People don't quite get it, so good luck out there. Looking for a lot of spread and opening through the left sideways. So this is a good QL pose. It's also a good base of the rib cage pose. So let's flood the lower left lung with a lot of breath, a lot of prana. So prana size, left side ribs. Left side waist. Left side organ bodies, so stomach, spleen, pancreas, left side kidney. Thanks everybody in there, I love you. Left side ovary, if you have that. Left side vas deferens or gonad, left side gonads in general. Descending colon, left side lung, and from here, a little different departure, a little different transition. Swing the left leg up to vertical and let the right leg come up a little bit so you can put your left foot on the floor. And then scooch, if you push your left foot into the floor and lift your hips up, swing your hips, scoot your whole body to the left so you can lay on your mat. And right foot, outer right foot stays on the wall, and I have to actually scooch further from the wall than my mat. So it's Supta Padangusthasana 2, but the right leg is held by the wall. So eventually straightening left leg long. And in theory, the outer edge of your right foot's on the wall. And the leg is at least level with the pelvis or maybe closer to your head. The foot's above the level of the pelvis, not below it. Arms can be out to the side. And as you put with your mind some heaviness in the left thigh, the down leg, really turn on the hamstring. Make the left foot neutral. So if you're hiking your big toe back towards your face, minimize that, undo that, neuter that. In fact, you can press the big toe print of your left foot further to lengthen that inner leg. Try to make the inner leg heavier. Neutral left leg. And the invitation here regarding breath is to simply deepen, soften, and lengthen the breath. Look for even access to both lungs, especially low in the back ribs. Low in the back ribs, flooding there, filling there, saturating there. And I like to, on occasion, think of the lungs like a big box, a big rectangular three-dimensional box. It's not quite that simple. It's a little more rounded and triangular, but whatever. If you can breathe low and back, low and wide and back, can you equally breathe high and in front? So it's like this diagonal from the collarbones to the kidneys. Breathe on that trajectory. Up and forward and down and back all at once. I find that lengthening and softening for my lumbar, spreading and opening for my belly. From here now, bend left knee. Float left leg straight up and swing it over to the wall where your right foot is. And I'm having to bend my right knee to make that happen. Put left sole of foot on the wall and then plop right foot on the floor with the intention of eventually straightening that right foot long straight down from your head. So I'm having to squiggle a little bit. I'm going to come slightly further off the wall so left foot can go down. So now we're in Supine Padangusthasana, Supta Padangusthasana 3. And I'm in a position where I can straighten both legs. Now, if you need to keep the bottom knee bent, some great. If you need to keep both knees bent, some great. But I'd like you to be able to have some play with the top leg, the left leg. So if you have to get closer or further from the wall, do that. And then bending and straightening the left knee. So when I bend the left knee, I roll more towards the front of my outer right hip, deepening the twist, because my left shoulder's on the floor. And then when I push the left leg straight, it deepens the tug around the outer left hip. So the bending of the knee sends the energy and the challenge higher up the spine. And the straightening of the knee sends the challenge down to the outer left leg. might be able to slowly further straighten your right leg. Some of you who have a straight right leg, you could bend the knee and catch it with your left hand from behind. Let's untangle. I'm simply going to put both feet on the floor, walking my feet over towards my bod. Untwist the spine. I'm going to knock my two knees together, take my feet wide, drape my arms over the body, and just settle. Find the bottom of the next few exhales. And by that I mean, can you breathe softly to empty and pause there? You notice how quiet it gets when you do that? Sitting in the gap. Start to do your breakdance moves to spin you over to the other side. So, head's going the other way now. Left foot is up on the wall, out to the left. Supta Padangusthasana 2. So organizing left foot so it's at least as high as the hip, straight out to the side. At least at the level of the hip. It might be more like toes in line with nipples, or toes in line with navel, or maybe even toes in line with chin or top of head, but at least in line with the pelvis. Put some energy, some consciousness in your right leg. Make it heavy, heavy, heavy. Thigh bone heavy, inner thigh bone heavier than outer. And the right foot neutral maybe, or pointed. For sure in a pronation, so not a supination, meaning that the big toe is furthest from you. Big toe is the furthest thing away from you. Pinky toe is closer than big toe. So that's that pronating action, which will keep some internal rotation of the leg. Breathe wide, low and back, and wide, high in front. So go for that diagonal again, collarbones to kidneys. Using this exhale to bend the right knee. Pick it up and take it over to the wall. I'm bending my left knee to get it there. So putting the right foot pretty much where the left foot was, and then let the left leg land on the floor. I'm going to scooch my body a little further from the wall to straighten my right leg. You may not be able to straighten your legs, so do the best you can with what you've got, because that's what we're all doing anyways all the time. So why make this any different? Right? Do the best you can. And then explore, if it works for you, that little right leg bending and straightening so it rolls you just slightly more to the wall and then nudges you slightly away from the wall. And if you took the thigh stretch on the first side, bending the bottom leg, in this case it's your left leg, and the right arm can grab it from behind. Maybe, just maybe. And from here, I invite you to, when you're ready, come onto your belly. So you can simply roll towards the wall. Right leg joins left leg, come onto belly, and then find a little Sphinx pose here. And let's start with flexion of the upper spine. So on your forearms with your elbows under your ribs, organize your legs so they're comfy and neutral. And then curling from the forehead down to your chin, to your breastbone, and create a lot of lift up between the shoulder blades. Heavy in the pubic bone. And feel the combo of all this sort of gathering and lifting your deep midsection. I've taught Sphinx like this before. I really find it valuable. We can really concentrate a lot of lift and integrity in the belly. And then like a big release of water, like a dam breaking in a canyon. And if you can envision water rushing through the canyon, maybe in slow motion, right? That kind of power, slowed down, emerging, arising from the low belly, and like roll it up, bring it up the front of the spine, lifting, gathered, integrated as you bring your face up and you reach the back of the throat up and your tonsils up and the bridge of your nose up. Toes like arrows straight back, all 10 of them straight back, and the oppositional reach straight up through bridge of nose. One more breath. And I'll have you slide hands back, tuck toes under. It depends on how strong you want to be here. You could go back to hands and knees and cat-cow. Or you can build a little chaturanga, which is not easy. I'm going to do it. So tuck your toes under, walk your toes towards your hips. You won't get very far, but do your best. And like if the hands push forward against the mat, it sends the weight back to the heels, right? And if the toes push forward into the mat, or rather if the toes push back, it sends the body forward. So you've got this push back and forward between hands and feet. If they both happen at the same time, if you push hands forward and push toes back, can you float up in chaturanga? And the answer may be no. So you can give it a couple tries. And eventually all the way up to plank and down dog. From down dog, bend the knees and load the weight back with bent elbows. And as if the knees were going to land, go ahead and touch them to the floor, but don't land. And then spring forward to chaturanga. And then back to this crouching dog. Knees almost touching the floor. And then spring forward, chaturanga, to crouching dog. Probably quite clear what's happening here, yeah? The yin portion is over. And setting our limbs on fire energetically. Knees don't touch, but almost. Chaturanga can be smaller. It can be like a micro push-up. 3 more, or you do however many more you want. 1. 2. 3. And we're down. Okay. And then walk your feet to your hands. Soften your knees and come rolling on up. That was hard. Certainly not the hardest thing I'll do all day. So that's a thumbs up. Grab your blocks. And your blanket. Grab your blocks and your blanket. Make your blanket into a roll. Fold the top couple inches of it over. Rolled up nice and tight. Set it aside at the wall, back to the wall. Block between your knees on its flat side. Step your feet away from the wall so that you can sit down in an imaginary chair with your back to the wall, and then take your arms wide. Keep arms wide and press them back like you're holding the wall up. And so in theory, back body is engaged and the front body can be soft. So you can even check that. One hand can check the opposite side chest, soft, because the back body's holding it up. And then squeezing the block, slide up 8 inches, slide down 8 inches. Bum against the wall, upper back against the wall. I'm scooting over a little bit to get off the metal plates on my wall. Head, you can feel the wall behind your head. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slide all the way up. Bend forward. Catch the 2 blocks. Lift your 10 toes. Put one of the blocks under those toes. And the other block you can use for your hands. Right? I don't need the other block, so I'm not going to use it. But coming forward from the heart, and use the wall to invite the back edge of those sit bones to stay a little bit muted. Back edge of those sit bones sort of stay tucked down by the wall. Oh, so slightly. So the sit bones can follow the heel bones. But as you inhale and exhale, as you breathe, can you find any movement in your tail? Sit bones fixed, set with the legs. Tail free to move with breath. Feet come off the block. Put the block between your knees. Sit down again. This time, interlace hands on head. And this time, everything to the wall behind you, including lumbar spine and the backs of the arms. So last time it was just head, thorax, and pelvis. Now we include lumbar. And heavy the shoulder blades. So can you keep the shoulder blades heavy, elbows against the wall, and lumbar against the wall and kidneys? For most people, it's an epic challenge. So if you're like, not quite, then stay with it. Relax the shoulders down and squeeze like from right to left to press the elbows back. Roll that navel back and down towards your tail.
And find that same breath diagonal, kidneys to collarbones. Breath or two more. Slide on up. This time as you come down, have your blocks handy by your feet, but walk your feet back, catch your blanket roll, and put the blanket roll behind your calf muscles. And you're going to smash the blanket roll with your calf muscles back into the wall. So now if your legs are vertical, your hips will not be on the wall. Can you get your heels just a little bit closer to the wall than the blanket? So the knees have a tiny bend, and you're going to use your strong ass thigh muscles to take the tiny bend out of the knees. So hands can be on blocks, like blocks on second side, out in front of you like down dog arms. And your strong ass thighs are trying to smash that blanket flat into the wall. Some of you won't need blocks. I don't need blocks, so I'm not going to use them. But it's like down dog arms. And it's like thigh bones back forever against the wall. And the blanket is pushing your shin bones forward. So challenge the strength of your thighs against the squishability of the blanket. Eventually you'll meet some sort of standoff where they're just both working. You're working and they're working you. If you can keep the pressure in the legs, you walk your hands back some. Another big breath or two. Soften your knees. Catch the blanket, toss it aside. Take your heels up the wall, so feet sort of flat to the wall, and walk your hands forward, heels up the wall, down dog. Keep your left heel up the wall, but step the left toes a few inches forward so the left heel isn't totally straight up the wall. It's at a little angle. And step your right foot forward. Go ahead and bring the torso up. You're in a simple lunge with left heel against the wall. And give yourself a moment to straighten the right leg, maybe adjust your distance, right foot to the wall, and rebend. And as you rebend the right leg, grow your left leg further back into the wall. And do it a few more times. So you can do whatever you want with your arms. I'm doing hands on hips. But straightening the right leg sort of takes the edge off, and as you rebend, firm the left heel into the wall more. And then straighten the right leg and firm the left heel into the wall more as you rebend. And again. And again. Pause down here. Left arm up. A little more length left side. And can we twist it? Slice that left arm all the way across. Keep plugging that left heel into the wall. Arm position of your choice. And when you bring your hands down, either side of right foot, step the right foot back, heel to the wall, and then take the left leg up the wall. And then walk your hands back any amount. You could put right foot flat on floor or keep heel up the wall. And do your best here to invite significant contrast between your two legs in a way that you can sustain an even-keeled center.
both shins down. I'm just going to have a seat here. You could walk your hands forward to regular dog, both dogs if you wish. We'll meet with heels up the wall dog. And the left foot stepping forward. Bring the torso up. Straighten the left leg on your way up. Organize your feet. Set your distance and your foundation. And as you bend left knee, right leg grows longer into the wall. Arm position of your choice. About 3 or 4 or 5, left knee straightening and bending. And if you can, you put your awareness deep in the pelvic calves and you feel them turning. As you bend left knee, upper rim of left pelvic calf falls back and right one rolls forward. And as you straighten, they come more together. And as you bend, they get more contrast. So right pelvic calf rolls forward and down as you bend that left knee. And left pelvic calf rolls back and up. Next time left knee bends, pause, right arm up. Grow right side longer. Yum. And as you take it into a twist, you got to grow that left side long now. When you dive that right arm across, do whatever you want with your arms, but lengthen left side waist. Keep scooping left sit bone under. And then when you're ready, all fours. Nope. Left foot steps back and then right leg goes up the wall. Down dog splits up the wall. Left heel can go to the floor or stay lifted. And then whatever you want to do in the middle. If you want to come to kneeling and sit, if you want to stay in your dog, or do a forward bend, or a child's pose, or roll through both dogs. And then walk your hands back to your feet. Catch one of your blocks. Take your feet wide. And let's have left heel against the wall. Turn left toes in a little. Left leg turns in a little. And turn the right leg out completely. Walk your hands over to the right and put the block between the ankle and the wall. Left hand on hip, both knees soft. And so look for the wall behind your head, behind your two shoulders. So top shoulder too. And then if you have any amount of booty, I got some booty. You gotta so you might feel your right butt against the wall. You want more outer hip. So you sort of have to sweep that right buttock flesh more to the left. As we straighten our legs, triangle pose. And in theory, left shoulder can stay on the wall as you take the full expression of your pose. So using the wall behind you to inform the alignment behind the head and the sacrum. In theory, the back of head and the back of the sacrum are both easily aligned on the wall. Both easily aligned. Or alignable, maybe not easy. And then from here, as you're ready, the journey down is tough, right? So can you keep head and shoulder and right hip against the wall as you roll left side torso down? Casually bring left hand to the floor and then bring your block with you as you walk the hands around and turn the feet. So the back of your right heel, inner edge of the back of the right heel goes to the wall. And then when you turn your left leg out, bring that left foot off the wall a little bit. Enough that you can put the block between ankle and wall. Soften both knees, and hopefully that gives you the power, the integrity you need to get the right hand off the floor and to find the wall with your right shoulder blade. Both knees are soft to start. Use that softening to move more of the right hip flesh, left hip flesh, your front leg hip flesh, to the right. And when you find that, straighten that front leg first, your left leg first, and then the back leg. And you're looking for, feeling for, trying to commit to back of head, maybe back of sacrum, right shoulder blade, outer left hip, back of left buttock, somewhere in there against the wall. So the wall as a feedback mechanism may very well reveal more information about where you're caught. And if you can find that deep front line from like forehead, nose, mouth, throat, sternum, navel, soften back through there as you bend your two knees and roll the right side down without falling. Can you bring the whole thing back around? Walk your hands forward. Bring your legs right together. Heels up the wall, and you decide if you want to flow or pause or rest. Okay, come rolling on up. What I'd like to do from here, I'm not using the wall for this one, but if you stack your two blocks at one end of your mat, and you're going to stand on the two blocks with your right foot. And using the strength of the right leg to float you, step you up onto the block. And then extend your left leg back and rebend the right knee as if you're going to step off into a lunge, but don't. Re-straighten the right leg. Exhale, bring left knee up in front of you. And extend it long out in front of you. Pause. Bend the knee, extend the knee and hit back. Bend the right knee a lot, like you're going to land in a lunge. But don't. Stand up on the blocks. Pull left knee up. Shoot left leg forward. Rebend, extend behind. Bend the bottom knee. Flirt with landing, don't land. Stand. Left knee up. Forward. Bend, extend it back. This time we're going to land. And then can you lower the left knee to the floor? Almost all the way. Flirt with putting all the weight into it, but no real weight bearing until the last minute. And then it's a big contrast between the two knees. Keep trying to fold into that right knee if the knee lets you. If this bugs your knees, then find some other simple thigh stretch. From here, straightening back leg, stepping or hopping left foot a little closer so you can come off the blocks. Mountain pose. Squeeze your two legs right against each other. If your knees come together first, please don't force your feet together. And then reach all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Weight in the heels. Reach more through the pinky side. And then so long reaching through your midline that it pulls you up to tiptoes. As if the hands could stay there. Keep them way up there as you lower your heels reluctantly down, get longer. And then hands to prayer. Step left foot on the blocks. Step your whole body up on the blocks. Extend right knee, thigh back. Bend left knee, flirt with touching, and then come to stand. Right knee up. Straighten leg in front. Rebend. Flirt with stepping back, but really stretch the leg back, like make it a longer reach, deeper step. Left leg straight, right knee up. I think we did 4 on the first side, but real slow. So this is 2. We're on 3. This 4th one is the one when we land. Land, and then the slow descent to take the right knee down, and not landing right away, but eventually landing. And then squeezing with the leg muscles, left leg, squeezing that knee into more flexion. So like bend the knee more, even though it's quite bent, and use it to really turn on some extra lengthening in the front of your right hip. Straighten the back leg, straighten the front leg, little step or hop, right foot forward, both feet on the floor. Okay. From here, probably a block. You're gonna face the wall and step right foot close to the wall, but about a block's width distance. Remember, like before, the front foot had a little gap. This time we're facing the wall, and you turn the right toes, right leg out externally. So we're coming into half moon with the belly at the wall. I've got the block in my right hand, one hand on the wall, and then half moon, right? So if this is too much, and you can't find a way to do it without falling backwards, turn around so your back is to the wall. And then so here, you've got the wall as a resource. You can reach the left arm way up. You can look at it with your right eye maybe. If the pelvic belly is against the wall, especially left side pelvic belly, your hips are turned way open. Maybe you can bend the left knee and grab the left foot. Same thigh stretch as before, this time not twisted. And try to slide your navel up the wall. Up, up, up the wall. This transition is tricky. Left arm up the wall, left leg long, bend right knee. Step the block that's in your right hand away from the wall, but keep using it. And as you land your left foot, can you sweep your left arm forward? So now the wall's to your left. Put the block between your right foot and the wall and put your left hand on it. So now we're going into revolved triangle with the wall on our left. So the outer left hip is against the wall and the left toes are a little bit pointing to the wall. A little bit. And the only thing up against the wall for me now is my outer left hip and increasingly back of my left shoulder as I twist. Maybe, just maybe, as you turn the upper body back, right shoulder blade can get to the wall and right arm, maybe. And then you really have to push the floor away with your right foot to send the hips back. Keep trying to lift the left hip towards the ceiling, back of your left hip towards the ceiling, and look for the wall with your right shoulder blade. It's tough. Not easy at all. Yeah, okay. To come on out, waggle right foot away from the wall. You can put your two hands down. A down dog or both dogs or no dogs, cat cows. Simply just kneel and rest or child's pose. Other side. So block in your left hand, face to the wall, belly to the wall. Turn your left leg out, widen your stance. And as you bend into your left knee, sliding nipples and navel against the wall, weight bear in the left foot, and float the right leg up the wall. So, I'm trying to get my left foot as close to the wall as I can, but it's not right up against the wall. My right hip is though. My navel is, my nipples are. Full wingspan. Good look to the right hand with left eye. And you're looking for the front seam of your right thigh to be against the wall. Maybe you have the toes tucked against the wall, that right foot. Inviting left groin to get closer to the wall. And maybe some of you can bend the knee, catch the foot with your right hand. And then really turn the navel up the wall. Sliding navel up to turn to the right. Back to the wall would be easier, no thigh stretch. When you're ready to let it go, do so. Bend the left knee. You can waggle the left foot off the wall some as you start to turn the right side of the torso down to the floor. You reach the right arm all the way overhead if your shoulder lets you. And then as you land the right foot down, place the block between the wall and your left foot. Right hand on the block, left hand on your hip. Try to take the right pelvis more to the ceiling. And then the left arm to the ceiling. Hold the floor down, hold the block down with that right hand, like with authority. Bam, push it down. And then you're looking for left shoulder blade to meet the wall as you continue to take your right hip towards the ceiling. So left hand to the ceiling and right hip to the ceiling. Right hand and left foot to the floor. Okay. Out you come. Find your neutralizing movements right down the middle. Whatever that looks like for you. And then we'll meet Actually, that's not true. We're gonna do one more thing. Using the wall. So, once again, wall to your left. And you can have hands in prayer, but block between your hands. And whole left side of the body sort of touching the wall. And then separate the two legs, all 10 toes point straight ahead. And let's put the block in the right hand. So revolved half moon now. So what you might do is get up on that right leg, snuggle up against the wall, the whole outer left hip. I got my left shoulders all up against the wall. You could even put the leg against the wall if you needed that. 10 toes straight ahead. And then left hand stays on the block, right hand comes to the hip. Now, again, left pelvis to the ceiling, or left SI joint to the ceiling is a more accurate place to put your focus. And then turn, right shoulder back, left shoulder down. Keep the left leg against the wall and don't let the hips turn down. Keep that left SI joint going high, and then right arm to the wall above you, maybe shoulder to the wall behind you. Left leg stays up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the feet down, come rolling on up, bring your block with you. Do 180, real casual like. And then again, both hands down on the block. All 10 toes straight ahead, walls completely on the right side of your body, and swing that right leg back and up. You can use it against the wall. Left hand on hip, right hand stays on block. If you peek at your pelvis, tuck your chin, look back at your pelvis, it's level from the front. Might not be level from the back because your glutes are working differently, but level from the front. And then turn the torso. Turn the torso. Five breaths. Leave the block there, come rolling on up, face away from the wall. Pause. I'm gonna catch the blanket roll and put it right up against the wall. You might need your blocks. So if you can start from hands on blocks, feet on floor, actually, if you put your toes on the blanket roll and bring your knees down, and then you're gonna step that left shin along the wall behind you. So you have to place that whole left shin up against the wall, and the left knee is on the blanket. Toes are straight up. Shin up the wall from behind. Now, you got your hands on blocks. You could make them even taller if you needed to give you a heave-ho to pick up that right foot and step it forward. And maybe, if you got any bandwidth, take a peek back, and you want that left heel right in line with your sit bone. The tendency is for the back leg to go way out to the side. So maybe walk your right foot and your torso to the left. And then keep the blocks or don't. But stage one here is to invite the right sit bone more towards its own right heel without the hips swinging to the right. So it's a very linear front to back, narrowing on the midline pose. And the head-tail relationship is pretty neutral, right? Try not to shorten the right side. So tail not veering towards right sit bone.
Some of you might feel more supported by sort of drawing the tail more towards the floor to lengthen lumbar. Some of you might get a little more action in the front of the left thigh if you reach the tail back. So from here you have a couple options. You can keep hips low and bring the torso up. Or, bring your blocks with you. And if you can get your hips back to the wall, now to the inside of the foot. So bum to the wall, along the inside of that left foot. Both butt cheeks to the wall, shoulders to the wall. My blanket just slid because it's not on a mat. And then maybe both arms up the wall. That's really optional. Shoulder blades for sure, and as much of your kidneys as possible. So the collarbones are an easy lift here, but can you breathe down and back into your kidneys? Okay, you might be done. I'm done. Grab your blocks. Go ahead, bring right knee down to the floor, step left knee forward. Maybe tuck your 10 toes under and sit on your heels for a moment. Or if you need some other move, take some other move. Left side. Other side, rather, right side. So starting from hands and knees, hands on blocks, step your whole right shin up the wall. Knee on the blanket, step left foot forward. Stage 1, lengthen from top of right knee to back of left knee. Where do you put your tail to find that length? Where do you need more length? Left booty, probably right thigh, almost everyone. The thighs. I mean, we spend almost all of our lives in flexion at the hips, sitting in some way. Any opportunity I get to open up the front of my pelvis, I take it. Where you point the tail affects all the surrounding tissues. Not only pelvic floor, but hip tissues, thigh tissues, belly, lumbar, all the places. Torso can come up, hips stay low. Maybe the body comes back. I've lost my blanket. It's fine. Hips to the inside of the right foot. Don't worry about that noise. That's just one of my rope holders. Sacrum flat to the wall. Shoulder blades on the wall. Maybe arms go up. They don't have to. You could do hands on head or arms out to the side or hands down, whatever you need. But try to find as much of your back body against the wall as possible. So that diagonal from collarbones to kidneys, focus on kidneys. Out you come. Down dog if you wish it. Both dogs if you want. And the wall's right behind you. So 2 choices. Well, you have a million choices. I'm going to offer you 2. You can choose whatever you want.
Down dog splits, one leg up the wall. Or, like we did that earlier, or start at an L shape, so like half handstand, where both your feet are up, and then step the right foot a little lower than your hips, and take the left leg up. And then work handstand splits with front leg at the wall and reaching back leg away from wall. You have to have the front leg lower, right? Lower than the hips, so it's like a break. And the weight of the left leg is supporting the splits position as well as hamstring engagement. Now reach more big toe tip. Switch legs at your leisure. And then to kneeling. Kneeling with hands on thighs or child's pose if you wish it. From here, swing your feet around to the right and nestle the outer left hip against the wall. So Ardha Matsyendrasana with the back to the wall. So if your left knee is bent, right foot's, left knee is bent and left foot's to the outer right hip, you could maybe step that right foot across the knee. Some of you might have to straighten that left leg, go for that. But with the whole left side, back hip against the wall, that's the beast in the corner. You can hook left elbow around that right knee. And I'm going to simply catch my right hand over my left wrist. And then use the wall behind me to look for, with my right shoulder blade. So it's the simple Ardha Matsyendrasana, but using the wall as a support to open to the right. Lengthen right side, descend right sit bone. It might be that you can get the left elbow over the right knee. And then in that scenario, I simply lay my left hand on the left heel down there and use the wall as a feedback mechanism to look for a nice evenly straightened spine, meaning not really side bending. Simply twisting on the vertical. Unhook the right leg, swing it out to the right. So far to the right, you have to scooch that the whole outer right leg is against the wall. Still right shoulder against the wall. Left knee is bent, left foot somewhere in front of the hips, and with left shoulder blade against the wall, start to side bend to the right. You can have left arm up the wall if you like. You can even sweep it so it goes overhead, laying left side body back against the wall. Ozzy, you need to go lay down. Go lay down, Ozzy. Go on. Go lay down. Go lay down. Oh, goodness gracious. Go lay down. Come on. Janu Shirshasana, Parivrita Janu Shirshasana with the wall. You could put head in right hand. And then we're already sort of set up to go to the other side. So perhaps you're keeping your right leg straight and you're just crossing your left foot over it. Now the wall's to the back, right hip, right back ribs, right shoulder, or you bend the right knee and step the left foot over it. And then you're looking for the wall with your left shoulder blade. Either shin and elbow crease and simply hold one wrist, or full hook up and right hand lands on the right heel. And finding the full spread of the kidneys against the wall, maybe. A neutral alignment of the spine. Up the wall with a twist. When you're ready, release the left leg over to the left. You got to turn a little bit so you can get that whole outer left leg against the wall. Turn the body to the right so right shoulder blade finds the wall maybe, and side bend to the left. Upper arm adds a lot, so take your time to get there. You could do both hands behind the head to start, or rest the head in your left hand and rest the right hand on your head, right shoulder to the wall, or arm up the wall, and eventually over. Lay back into the wall, let it support you. Call on the supports that you have available in the ground. The floor, the earth is our most basic, ever-present support. And then the wall is an amazing support. So pulling out these stops when you need them, and I feel like I needed them today. Up you come. Turn around so you face the wall. Take your two legs up the wall, but can you stay on your elbows? Can you stay on your elbows? Both legs up the wall. And then lift your lumbar and bring some cow into your spine. So a little back bend on your elbows with your legs up the wall. And if this gives you any amount of lift, that you could then get your hands on the floor behind you. And so legs up the wall, Paschimottanasana. So hands like kickstands, and then draw the shoulder blades down and back. Reach the heart up. Punch the heels up. Spread the toe mounds and shine those up. Try to hold the wall up with your legs and try to hold the floor down with your hands. Front ribs up, breastbone up, collarbones up. From here, stay or take the legs wide. Take the legs wide apart. So you could say it's Prasarita Padottanasana, inverted. Viparita Prasarita, whatever it's called, or Upavishta Konasana. One or two more breaths here. However wide you want to take your legs is entirely up to you. And when you're ready from here, simply come to lay back. Take the two legs straight up. Arms softly at your sides. You could keep legs up, or you could cross the ankles and let Sukhasana legs or Siddhasana legs simply fall and be held by gravity and rest here. Or you could lay yourself out in full Shavasana. Simply roll to the side and set yourself up to rest. And as you move into rest, allow gravity to have you. Let the weight of your body in contact with the earth support you. Let the space around you support you as you breathe and feel expansiveness into the space on inhales. And let the earth hold you as you settle and exhale. And on some level, deep in the space of your heart or deep in the ventricles of your brain or deep in the mitochondria of your cells, if you can sense or invite the bubbling up of the notion that everything is as it should be. Everything is the way it is because of choices and decisions made up to this point. And we can rest in trusting that if we want a different future, that we'll need to make different choices. We can do what we can do with the time we have been given. And so rest well now, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you. I love you.